What's the good word, y'all? It's your boy DKB here. So we have some last minute smoke and mirrors going on, right? The draft kicks off tomorrow, but Daniel Jeremiah is reporting that every team is looking to trade up in the 2024 NFL draft for tackles. This is probably one of the most offensive heavy drafts that I can remember in a long time, right? I think I've seen a bet that had the amount of offensive players taken total in the first round at plus or minus, 21 and a half or so like that. So you're talking about essentially 2/3 of this draft class being offense. And for this to specifically be tackle, we know how much of a need this is in the NFL, right? Just having a starting 5 caliber unit is a significant feat, right? You're seeing things trickle down to even depth players. If you can find a gem, which is why we touch on needing to find a guy in the mid and late rounds. If you can get yourself a Trey Smith, for example, that is a significant enough feat in and of itself, because you're getting a huge value deal before you have to pay out big money to these guys. So this is great news to us, specifically for those guys that still want to trade down and try to take advantage of this wide receiver depth, of this offensive tackle depth. Would it be great to have a Joe Alt, a Olu Fashanu, a Talise Fuaga, JC Latham, whoever your top, 2 or 3 guys are, of course, but does that value, does getting a Joe Alt outdo getting, let's say you drop down and you get an Amarius Mims, and then in a second you get a Troy Franklin or a Ricky Pearsall? I think the combination of those 2 players does more for you than just getting the top guy on the board. I could be wrong, but nonetheless, I don't think it's as significant of a drop off, right? You're talking about, in this offensive tackle draft, the floor being probably 5 tackles going in the first round, which is significant in and of itself. But there's upwards of 8 to 9 guys that you can see get drafted in day one, something that hasn't been done since, the 2008 draft class. So I'm super excited to hear this. You do take a look at the names of teams that do have some interest in trading up via rumors or just obvious needs that we've seen. You have the Vikings with quarterback. They obviously acquired pick 23 in an effort to move up for somebody, and you would assume that to be a quarterback, right, if they need to try to pair both picks. You take a look at the Broncos. The recent rumors that I've seen with them, even with the Zach Wilson trade, is that they are potentially looking to even offer up somebody like a Patrick Surtain, one of the most elite cornerbacks in the NFL, in order to help facilitate a trade, since they don't have a second rounder, right? You take a look at the Eagles, for example. They have needs that they want to address. They're most likely looking to move up for a wide receiver, though. You're seeing more and more mock drafts where he may be available for the Jets at 10. If they don't love Adunze, or if the value is just too good to pass up, maybe they facilitate a trade that way. You take a look at the Rams. Take a look at the Bengals, for example, who could still use long-term offensive line reinforcements. Definitely a good insurance policy that they could use as well. And then the Saints, they have a huge need with Ryan Ramczyk going down, so they may not be willing to wait for the 4th or the 5th best guy, right? You can easily see a run on offensive tackles go anywhere from pick 5 with the Chargers all the way up until, let's say pick 15. You can see 3 to 5 guys go in just that range in and of itself. So I'm excited to hear this news. I doubt it'll play out like that. I do think there will be a significant number of offensive players in general that go before, the first 20 picks. But I don't know. At this point, I do want to kind of play the value card here. I'm not a fan of moving up for a Marvin, a Neighbors, a Rome Odunze per se. I do think you can drop down, and if you want to get a Brian Thomas, for example, in the first, and then you acquire a second rounder, and you want to go get a Kingsley so Mataya, I think the name is, or any other member on the offensive line, guard, tackle, etc. I think you can get that done, and I do think that increases the overall ability of this team, not just in the right now, but in the long term. I think it'll be, as I mentioned plenty of times, hard for us to really get the wrong player in this draft, since everybody has the opportunity to essentially get some playing time, whether you're talking tackle, you're talking guard, you're talking wide receiver. They get they get year one playing time, but they also get the chance to actually develop without the pressure of needing to put up 1,000 yards right away as a wide receiver, or having to give up 0 sacks right away because you're one of the only consistent or reliable members on the offensive line. So let's see how it plays out. Let me know what you guys think, though. Where are you officially leaning with less than a day to go for the draft to kick off? Trade down? Are you staying put? Or should you go all in and just get the guy that you love the most? And I'll catch you guys again. Peace.